What up, y'all, and welcome to the Nashville Fairgrounds, the fourth race of the 2023 FBRL Napa Truck Series season. In his first race back to the series, Huck Davis gets his first career Napa Truck Series pole for new team Monster Energy Racing with new sponsor Cornbread Hemp on the truck. Man got busted for failing a drug test back in 2020, and now he is selling it. Man, oh man, what a turn of events. He's got Ryan Griffin, who is outside on the front row. Teammate to Huck Davis, Ace Wild in row 2 with a great surprise out of Austin Runkle, who makes his first start of the season for Crossroads Racing. In the 29 truck this week and starting in row 3 is James Silverfox with Arya Carmona to his outside. Jordan Fisher, who blew the engine last week in the Homestead 150, is in row 4 with former teammate at Anjato, Edward Siemba. And rounding out row 5 is second in the points, Bradley Bishop Jr. with Aiden Smith. Row 6, James Ellison makes his return to the Napa Truck Series with S3 Motorsports. And you've got Jacques Anderson for Anjato with a great Q effort there in 12th. Dewey Schramm III, Tip Foster, Randy Riggs Jr., Bobby Jones, William Brock, Blaze McKinney, and more as you look through the field. Joseph Shrigley in the 84 truck this week. You know who didn't qualify well? The points leader and most recent race winner, Luke Martin. Martin with 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 3 top 10s, an average finish of 1.67 to start the season. He's gone second, and first, and has achieved a total of 85 points. His average starting position also is at a 3.33. It won't be after tonight. He rolls off 34th. You see there AJ Jones, Glenn Mixon, Malik Nevins, Shade Eves, Bob Burns also starting here in the mid to rear of the field. A lot of drivers here. With it being a short track, there is minimal room for error during your qualifying lap, so you really have to hit your marks if you want to start at the front. Track position is going to be a big thing tonight. With the nature of a short track, it is generally hard to make passes, and it usually takes a couple of laps to do so. Alexa Luchon qualified second last week at Homestead. She is starting at the back this week. You see Blake Warren in the 23 there, a row behind Luke Martin as well. And when you look further back towards provisional land, you'll find Roberto Crown Jr., Jerry Cook, Al Bunch, and Michael Miller made this race on provisional. This was the last race using provisionals and go home drivers off of last year's owner points results. Starting in the next race at Road Atlanta, we will start using 2023 owner points. And also with a poor qualifying effort, Nelson Reeves, who's been doing pretty good so far to start his 2023 campaign with Team Velocity. Reeves comes into this race 11th in the points. His teammate Dewey Schramm III, who starts at the front of the field and has made every race through go or go home one way or another this season, is 9th in the points. Let's go trackside for the command to fire engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
It's a clear Wednesday night here in Nashville, 75 degrees. It's our first time here at this track in, I believe, FBRL history. Huck Davis and Ryan Griffin lead them to the green flag, and 120 laps of action is underway. Ricky Freeman Jr. set the fastest lap in practice with a 19.358, and drivers said there was about 2 to 2.5 seconds of tire fall off over the course of a full run. Huck Davis will lead the first lap of the race. How about that first race back in the Napa Truck Series? He starts on pole and he leads the first lap. Ryan Griffin, Ace Wild, James Silverfox, Jordan Fisher file in line in the top 5, and Austin Runkle, who started in 4th, is already back to 6th place. This race could fly by really fast, or if we get a lot of cautions, it could drag on. Drivers reported from practice that they can stretch it up to 70 laps on fuel. However, with this being a 120 lap race, you are likely not going to want to go too far past lap 60. So depending what teams decide to do here, the undercut could be the way to go, the overcut could be the way to go. But if you really see these drivers run a ton of different strategies, the last thing you want is to pit first and then get stuck 2 laps down. But 4 laps in, and right now Huck Davis has control of the field with Ryan Griffin second, Wild third, Silver Fox fourth, and Fisher in fifth. Bradley Bishop Jr. now in sixth. Austin Runkle seventh with his team owner James Ellison driving the 56 for S3 behind him in eighth. Dewey Schramm the third and Aiden Smith round out the top 10. Talked about it on the starting grid. Poor qualifying efforts for several drivers, including Luke Martin and Nelson Reeves, who are currently outside of the top 30. Martin started 34th and has gone backwards. I'm seeing some of these trucks get runs off the corner on the outside line, but it seems that the bottom is the place you're gonna wanna be here right now, as all the tires are relatively equal. Tire cliffs are reported to take about 30 laps to hit. So for most of the beginning of this run, it's going to really come down to the driver's skill on pushing through the field or saving their stuff if they believe that is the course of action to go. But Luke Martin, Nelson Reeves, Bob Burns, all back here at the rear of the field and currently outside of the top 20, looking to get points. We're on lap 12, and Austin Runkle has stabilized here in 7th so far, and I really want to touch on the importance of a good run tonight by Austin Runkle. Missed the first 3 races of the season. Now, despite that, with the new top 20 point system, the teams hovering around the bubble for top 30 and owner points only have 6 points on the season so far. So if Runkle were to get a top 10 here tonight, he would be instantly top 30 in the points, locked into Road Atlanta, and would, in a really good position to try and get more points. But his team owner, James Ellison, looks like he's got a pretty fast truck under him right now, as Aiden Smith is behind, looking to pass Dewey Schramm the third. And Ellison is peeking to the inside. Oh man, it looked like he might have got into Runkle there for a second, almost dumped his own driver. I mean, that might be sending a message like, hey man, I'm your owner, I'm faster right now, you kind of gotta move, it's too early to be holding me up like this. But Ellison's been around for a while in the FBRL. He will find the way by his driver here sooner or later, as Aiden Smith, what a great run for him right now. Wow, look at the send Dewey put up there on the outside line. Aiden, though, up to 9th, looking for a good run, looking to get a solid amount of points. But what can you say about Dewey Schramm the third? Started 41st on a provisional last week at Homestead and ended up finishing 7th, and currently sits 9th in the points in a truck that isn't getting the most focus at Team Velocity. This truck gets just a teensy bit less focus than the 19, but that hasn't slowed Dewey up at all. Dewey has been around in the FBRL a little bit as well, and making this return to the Napa Truck Series this year after an abysmal Hardy's National Series campaign last year with Easy Racing. Dewey is making the most of this opportunity. Got another young rookie driver to touch on. Jacques Anderson started in 12th and currently runs 16th in front of several experienced drivers: Malik Nevins, Shades, Alexa Lushon, and AJ Jones. So Jacques showing that this Ford truck does have the pace, like his teammates of Edward Ciemba and Bob Burns. But it's a steep learning curve here in the Napa Truck Series. You've got a good amount of rookies, and in recent years now, you've got a ton of experienced drivers from Hardy's and even some from Sony Cup that have come down to the Napa Truck Series and have made it a very competitive game with the teams. But a lot of teams wanted to hire some fresh blood this year. A lot of that fresh blood ended up leaving before the season even began. And there's a lot of drivers now finding themselves in a position of leeching such as Joseph Shrigley in the 84 truck, currently running in 14th place. But so far, a good run for Jacques, currently in the points in the top 20. And we'll have to see if he can keep it there. Not much going on within the top 10, but James Ellison finally got a good enough run with a bit of space from him to the 31, and he is to the inside of Runkle for 7th place. Has it there at the start-finish line. We'll see if he can complete the pass. But it looks like the rookie drivers are starting to hit that cliff a little bit sooner than the veterans. And now Aiden Smith to the inside of the 31, looking for 8th. Currently hearing that teams are at about 0.8 of a second of fall off. Fastest lap of the race currently belongs to the leader, Huck Davis, setting a 19.496. But you can see there, just looking at the top 10 in times, that everyone is very close here right now, and that saving your tires here with how this run has stayed green could become a key play here if these teams can keep it green until they get to the first round, and potentially only round of pit stops. Ryan Griffin has been all over the 36 of Huck Davis in recent laps. You gotta wonder if that veteran patience is starting to pay off for Griffin here. Has Huck Davis burned off his tires just enough for Griffin to maybe put a move on him? Here at the start of lap 33, Griffin is right up the tailpipe of the number 36, who has led every lap so far, and there is the move into turn 3 from Ryan Griffin. Looking for the race lead. When you look at Griffin's season so far here in the Napa Truck Series, did not qualify for the Daytona 250, had a terrible pit stop at Dubai, didn't get any points, had a very great race at Homestead, but was on the super overcut at the end, rebounded to finish 10th and get his first points of the season, and now here on lap 34, takes the race lead. Huck Davis leads the first 33 laps. We'll have to see if he can rebound back. But Ryan Griffin was patient and bided his time, and now he has the race lead. Another thing you're going to have to be patient with coming up is lap traffic, as James Silver Fox is putting a move on Ace Wild for third. He did it kind of coming towards the exit of turn 4, though. Checks up, back, single file are the top 5, as positions have really not changed here. James Ellison has started to close the gap a little bit up to Bradley Bishop Jr., as Aiden Smith sits in 8th, Siemba in 9th, and now Austin Runkle soon to have a bumper full of Dewey Schramm III for 10th place. What a race so far tonight for Aria Carmona, like her teammate of James Ellison, having a great truck performance so far, and Carmona just passed Dewey Schramm III for 11th, and now she's looking to take 10th place away from Austin Runkle, and she will fly by the 31 just like that. From the lap times I've been seeing recently, the 5 and the 56 look pretty spiffy here on the long run. I know one particular viewer loves it when I use the word spiffy. So Aria Carmona's truck, that Stouffer's machine, is looking spiffy, and hopefully that's the last time I use that word here tonight in this race, because I think I have now overused it. Behind Carmona, you've got William Brock looking to pass Joseph Shrigley. These two have been around the same position for the entire race, and now Shrigley, who had jumped up to 13th, will fall back down to 14th as Brock takes the position away. And Randy Riggs Jr. has had a pretty good night. He hasn't really been up front so far this season, so to see him inside the top 20 points for Gatlin Down Incorporated is a pleasant sight to see. Luke Martin has started to move up the ranks. He is now in 26th place. You see Nelson Reeves behind in 28th and Bob Burns in 30th. They were stuck outside the top 30 for the longest time, but now that they are getting towards the second third of this run, or final third rather, of this run, their trucks have really come alive, and their experience of saving their stuff is starting to show, as Luke Martin is closing up on the back bumper of Ricky Freeman Jr., who is currently racing Toby Christie for 24th place. You've still got some drivers struggling here, though, such as AJ Jones, who's in 23rd, just outside of the points. Bobby Jones, as well, in the 8th this week, has not done well. Started mid-pack, hasn't been able to go anywhere. Very similar to how he did at Dubai for the team. Very surprising to see this truck struggle with such a talented driver behind the wheel. As further up the road, you've got Shade Eves, who's made it into the top 20, trying to get Revolution Racing points for the owner's standings. Blaze McKinney, who won at Richmond last year, got Mercedes that first win, is currently 19th. And Malik Nevins and Tib Foster, some very talented drivers outside the top 15. You could say surprising to see them down here, but just such a stacked field here tonight at Nashville. And as you look at the leaderboard, Ryan Griffin has pulled a 1 second gap over the 36 of Huck Davis. Ryan Griffin has worked his way into the lap traffic. He's already put Pedro Ivo Lucas a lap down. Now working on the 87 of Michael Miller, 65 of Al Bunch just ahead, as is the 13 of Ben McDonald. The gap to Huck Davis is going up or down depending on how fast Griffin gets by these trucks, as nothing has changed on the running order here inside the top 10. Pit stops are expected to begin here soon as they get closer to the halfway mark. So far, this race has gone caution-free. Hearing a report that there might be a potential problem with the 57 truck of Roberto Crown Jr., who is currently running in 36th place. Roberto is reporting that his fuel pressure gauge is flickering up and down a little bit, seeing a little bit of lack in fuel pressure, and that is hurting the acceleration of the truck just a bit on the straightaways. So potential problem here for the 57 Young Motorsports truck. His teammate of Bradley Ream just in front of him there in 34th. So far not a good night for the 2-truck team of Young Motorsports. Hearing there's an issue on the 39 of Shade Eves. He says something just broke inside the engine and he's going to get hit by the 62 of Josh Crash and sent to the inside wall. That checks up the 28 of Luke Martin. Eves trying to get down and out of the way and avoid getting run over here another time. But that 39 is heavily off the pace, and that is a heartbreak to see. That's the second Mitsubishi mechanical issue now here in the 4th race of the season. They went clear and green the first 2 races of the year, but now an engine failure for the 6th last week, and now a problem for the 39 of Shade Eves here in the 4th race, as I think I saw the 31 of Austin Runkle. Yeah, Austin Runkle is the first one to pit road here on what is lap 63 for him. So 4-tire pit stop and a little bit past halfway. So likely the undercut here could be the way to go. And the first of the top 5 to pit road is the 29 of James Silverfox. Mercedes played this strategy at Richmond last year with Freeze Racing Team's Blaze McKinney towards the end of that race. And this year, it looks like the first Mercedes team down pit road is the 29 of Silverfox, who is running some races in this 29 truck after what happened with driver TJ Smith, as Huck Davis, Ace Wild, and many others are now heading down pit road. From what we are being told, you can see Randy Riggs Jr. done with his service. Shade Eves looks like they were able to remedy some of their issue there and get their truck back on the racetrack. Dewey Schramm III down, Jordan Fisher down, William Brock on his way out. Same with Joseph Shrigley. So seeing everyone start to come down here. So far, Ryan Griffin has not come down to pit road. James Ellison, Edward Siemba, and others from the top 10 also down the pit lane. Jock Anderson, who has since fallen out of the top 20. Ryan Griffin now into pit road here on lap 68. So Griffin waited 4 laps after James Silverfox to come down pit road. So we'll see how the overcut pans out here. It is 2 to 2.5 seconds of tire fall off. Arya Carmona has elected to stay on track, as has Tib Foster. And now those two will come to pit road as well. Yes, you can see about 2.5 seconds of fall off for the 5. Nelson Reeves, Luke Martin with a bit of an overcut strat. They were at the back of the field. Not sure how many positions they are potentially going to lose here. But a lot of different strategies here from lap 64 to 69. As I think Austin Rogers just stayed out another lap. Yes, indeed, the 82 has yet to come to pit road. Maybe hoping for a caution here. He's not going to get it, and he is the last one to visit pit road. So as Austin Rogers makes his way off of pit road, James Silverfox takes the race lead and puts him a lap down. Got to give props to the Napa Truck Series drivers with where you can merge here at Nashville and where the pit entry merge point is. Got to give them a ton of props for keeping it clean and green throughout that extremely long pit cycle there. I mean, it is a short track, but to have I want to say a 7-lap long pit cycle, a lot of different strategy. Great to see these teams keep it clean and green throughout that sequence. So you see Silver Fox currently the race leader, Huck Davis second, Ace Wild third, Jordan Fisher fourth, Ryan Griffin 6 seconds back in 5th place. William Brock 6th, Austin Runkle 7th, Dewey Schramm the 3rd, 8th, Joseph Shrigley 9th, and Randy Riggs Jr. in 10th. An issue for Bradley Bishop Jr., who was running in 13th place, a flat tire on the number 88 Ram, and that is going to have a huge implication on his race here, going to go several laps down to replace this flat tire, and you just hate to see it. That is a devastating blow to the 88's race here. Luke Martin loving to see this though, as he is outside of the points right now in 26th, as does Jordan Fisher, who's currently inside the top 5 when you look at the championship picture. Luke with a 16-point lead over BBJ, with Siemba and Tim Foster 44 points back, and Bob Burns 51 points back. Jordan Fisher came into this race 8th in the points, 56 points back. So while Bradley Bishop Jr. not the points leader, a lot of those championship rivals needing him to not score points. Even though it is early in the season, every point counts. Can't stress that enough. But with Luke Martin currently not getting points, that's what these drivers, these competitors are going to be very fortunate for if Luke fails to get points here tonight. If they can get a lot of points, finish top 10, top 5, maybe win this thing, that is going to be big for their season here early on in the year. We have another mechanical issue. This time it's the 8 of Bobby Jones reporting something broken with his race truck. He's going to drop at the pit road from 19th place. Bobby not in it for points as a driver, but the team in it for points. Looking to have a solid year on the owner's standings, and not what they wanted to see here for the 8 of Bobby Jones. An already disappointing night, and now we'll have no points to show for it. We'll see if they elect to keep him on the track. Shade Eves has stayed out there in the 39 and is about down about 5 miles an hour on the straightaways. So we'll see what kind of issue Bobby Jones has here, if it's similar, if it's different, and if they elect to continue, but likely no points to be gained here unless there's like a 30 truck pileup or something. Talk about strategy and the overcut. Aria Carmona, one of several drivers on fresh tires, the freshest tires, as she moves to the inside of Josh Crash, looking for 14th place. Aria Carmona, Tib Foster, Blaze McKinney, Bob Burns all pit on lap 69. Nice. And then you had Austin Rogers pit on lap 70. Carmona highest running of those drivers, with Tib in 19th, McKinney in 22nd, Burns a lap down in 30th, and Austin Rogers a lap down in 37th. They are moving forward, albeit very slowly, as the drivers really still haven't hit that cliff yet here in the second run. I give it about another 5 to 10 laps. But Aria Carmona is moving forward for the time being. But 13 seconds away from the race lead, likely going to need a caution of some sort to bunch up the field if she really wants a shot at this thing. But regardless of that, the fresh tires should get her a pretty good finish here if things continue to go her way. One driver that benefited immensely from their strategy is the one truck of William Brock. Brock pit on lap 65 alongside drivers such as Huck Davis, Ace Wild, Dewey Schramm III, and Joseph Shrigley, and he currently runs in 5th place, 7 seconds behind race leader James Silverfox. Ryan Griffin has continued to move forward in front of him, currently now up to 4th, looking to challenge Ace Wild for 3rd. We've also got Jordan Fisher right behind the one here in 6th. Shrigley 7th. Make that Shrigley P8 as James Ellison gets by him for the position. Dewey Schramm III in 9th, and Alexa Lushon currently now rounding out the top 10 as she passes by teammate Austin Runkle. Sorry about that. Lushon getting by teammate Austin Runkle there for 10th position. So a very good night right now for Crossroads Racing, something they are very happy to see, I'm sure, with their drivers 4th, 10th, and 11th. But of course, wanting Ryan Griffin to catch some kind of break here. Overcut strategy, they really lost a ton of time. And I'm not sure if Griffin is going to have the time here in these last 25 laps to close 6 seconds of time around this short track. But a good night regardless to make note of, especially for the 31 of Austin Runkle. The battle is on for Luke Martin to try to get something out of this race here tonight. He currently runs 22nd behind the 42 of AJ Jones, the 44 of Blaze McKinney, and then the 92 of Ricky Freeman Jr. Those are the closest competitors for Luke Martin to try and get a couple of points here for what was a terrible qualifying effort, and then to have no cautions 100 laps into this race here at Nashville really has given this team no breaks, no shot to regroup and have the field get bunched back up. So you got to make do with what you got ahead of you, and that is trying to get some kind of points here. You can see with Bobby Jones in the 8, he is slow on the straightaways, but with fresher tires, he has the grip in the corners to battle these guys off. So making it difficult for drivers such as AJ Jones and Luke Martin to move forward and try to challenge Blaze McKinney and Ricky Freeman Jr. for the positions they hold. Of course, McKinney on some of the freshest tires of the field. Luke pit 1 lap before he did. However, Ricky Freeman Jr. was one of many drivers to pit on lap 65, as was the 62 of Josh Crash. And then Randy Riggs Jr. was a driver that pit on lap 64 with race leader James Silverfox. So there's a lot of drivers ahead of Luke here that could fall back to him if things go his way, but right now Luke maintains 22nd place. Haven't really talked about him since he lost the race lead to Ryan Griffin earlier on, but what a night for Huck Davis in his first race back to the Napa Truck Series with this new team of Monster Energy Racing. Running in 2nd place, he has closed the gap up to Silverfox, now down to 3 seconds, but Ryan Griffin is right on his back bumper, looking to take 2nd place back as both of them are closing in on race leader James Silverfox. Really impressive. They've gained about 3 seconds here in the last 14 laps, and Griffin, with his better tires, is going to put a move on the 36 of Huck Davis as Bradley Bishop Jr., who's behind them on very fresh tires, 2 laps down. He's been charging forward this entire run because of having to pit again, and they ended up taking 4 tires again since he was on pit road. So Huck Davis will lose 2nd place to Ryan Griffin, and then there's no reason for him to fight the 88, so he's just going to kind of let him go here. But James Silverfox is kind of a sitting duck considering how early he pitted, and it is a 4-lap difference between him and Ryan Griffin. But Nelson Reeves, Brandon Morris, J.D. Martin, and Bob Burns sit between the 29 and the 10. But even more time chopped off that lap by another 3/10 back-to-back laps from Griffin to Silverfox. This show ain't over yet, folks. 9 laps to go, coming to 8 laps to go. And Silverfox is going to have to make that truck wide if he wants to visit Victory Lane tonight for the first time in his Napa Truck Series career. Give a quick update on Luke Martin here before we focus back on the leaders. He's up to 21st place and closing 0.3 of a second up to Ricky Freeman Jr. The gap between them is about a second. Does he have enough time to close up on the 92 and try to get just 1 point? 1 point here tonight, which could mean so much in terms of the championship once we get to the end of the season. Can he catch Ricky Freeman Jr.? We'll have to find out later. The focus is on the race for the win. 5 laps to go here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. This race has gone green the entire way. If we were to get a caution now, it would likely end the race. Between James Silverfox and Ryan Griffin are 4 trucks: J.D. Martin, Bradley Bishop Jr., Brandon Morris, and Nelson Reeves. The margin, 1.6 seconds. Fastest lap of the race doesn't matter, but it belongs to Glenn Mixon with a 19.428. As Bradley Bishop Jr. about runs over James Silverfox, they're looking for an opening. That could have been huge for the terms of how this race ends. BBJ goes by. It's now down to about 2.5 trucks. Ryan Griffin looking to pass Brandon Morris. Nelson Reeves, despite his overcut, hasn't really gone anywhere. Griffin will pass the 55 of Morris. Now it's just J.D. Martin between him and the 29. And Silverfox has a ton of traffic in front of him, so he really has nowhere to go either. 1.35 seconds. White flag will be out this time by. 120 laps of green flag action here at the Nashville Fairgrounds for the race fans. And 1 lap away from a win in the Napa Truck Series is James Silverfox. J.D. Martin's going to peek to his inside. It's a second back to the 10. Nothing for Silverfox to worry about here as he heads off into turn 3 looking for his first career win. Someone has blown up the 25 of Jeff Bolton up in smoke, but it will not hamper James Silverfox's night. He wins here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Bit of a heart in the throat moment there for James Silverfox, but the margin of victory shows 0.42 seconds, and the 29 wins the race as the 25 comes to a stop on the track. Caution flag out here right at the checkered flag. James Silverfox, his team that he is driving for here tonight, 2nd win in a row for the team and Mercedes. What a show of strategy by this program on the short track. Once again, was just enough to get the job done with the strategy the 10 picked and all the lap traffic that came to play. James Silverfox, your race winner, first career win for Silverfox in his Napa Truck Series career. Becomes the 40th driver to win in series history, and I'm not sure how many starts Silverfox has made before in the Napa Truck Series. That is something I am looking to check right now. Ryan Griffin, though, best race for him on the year with a P2. And this was James Silverfox's 6th start of his Napa Truck Series career. There's a rumor that Silverfox will run down here full-time next year, but nothing is set in stone. But nothing like winning your first race as a part-timer. Jordan Fisher did it, and then came down here to run full-time and had a ton of success last year, won that championship for Anjato. Looking at the rest of our top 10, Huck Davis with third. I mean, what can you say? What a night. Started from the pole, led a ton of laps early on. Stay top 5 with their strategy. Gets a ton of points here. And just launched that 36 truck from being a go or go home for one race to, I'm pretty sure, being locked in as the 08 of Justin Johnson, who has failed to qualify for the last 3 races. He got third at Daytona, and I think he should still be top 30 in owner points too. So that 08 truck and the 36 going to benefit here from the points system. Jordan Fisher has a great night after blowing up last week at Homestead. He finishes 4th, ran top 5 all night long. James Ellison, good return to him here in the Napa Truck Series. We'll see him in the 56 more later this year. 5th place run for him. Ace Wild falls out of the top 5 right at the end, but 6th place finish here on the night. That is his first top 10 of the season after a poor 2 races and a tough race last week on the strategy game. William Brock comes home in 7th. Dewey Schramm, the 3rd man. I don't know what fire is lit up under him right now, but he continues to impress for Team Velocity. 8th place on the 9th, and I believe done with go home for the immediate future. Tib Foster ran outside the top 15, or just inside the top 15, I want to say, for the early run, and the strategy of the overcut pays off big time for him. He comes home 9th, so Monster Energy Racing has all 3 trucks inside the top 10, and at that, 3rd, 6th, 9th, 3, 6, 9 right there. And Aria Carmona, great night for her as well, coming home in 10th. Rest of the top 20 on the race: Alexa Lushon, Malik Nevins, Joseph Shrigley, Edward Siemba, Aiden Smith, Austin Runkle. Great show for them. I think he's still going to be in go or go home with that 16th place run, but in a very good spot to maybe make a race on a provisional if need be. Blaze McKinney, Randy Riggs Jr., Josh Crash, and Luke Martin got it done. Martin gets 1 point on the night, and so far has gotten a point in every race, but it's the first race where Luke Martin, Bradley Bishop Jr., and Edward Siemba failed to finish inside the top 10. And for Luke and BBJ, also failing to finish in the top 5. So that 3-race streak comes to an end here tonight at Nashville Fairgrounds. Next race on the schedule is a track that a ton of drivers in the Sony Cup Series, ton of teams in the Sony Cup Series do not like to go to. But for the sake of entertainment purposes, the Napa Truck Series is going there this year. Road Atlanta, everybody. As part of a doubleheader in the state of Georgia, we're going to go to Road Atlanta, and then we're going to head to Atlanta Speedway for a brand new race in the Atlanta 150. But Road Atlanta is first. Who will survive the chaos that is to ensue? We'll find out next time here for the FBRL Napa Truck Series. Enjoy your off week. We'll be at Road Atlanta in 2 weeks' time. And that's all I got. James Silverfox, your winner here tonight at the Nashville Fairgrounds.